This episode is brought to you in part by the National Restaurant Association.
All right, welcome to another episode of On Foodable Weekly. We are here at the National Restaurant Association show in Chicago, 2016. It's day 2. And man, what a great day yesterday was. Lots of fun, tons of people crushing the show hall here, which was kind of cool. A lot of new stuff happening here in the NRA booth too. So we're doing this special report series. We've got a few of the NRA best of breed here with us. Rob Gifford with the National Restaurant Association Educational Foundation. Thanks for stepping in, man.
Well, thanks, Paul. Thrilled to be here. Thrilled to have you here at the show. It's we had a great day yesterday. We're having a great day today. Great energy, great industry.
Yeah.
Having a lot of fun.
So let's kind of talk a little bit about, first of all, what do you do with the NRAEF?
Yeah, so the Educational Foundation is a charitable arm of the National Restaurant Association. I serve as its executive vice president, so I'm responsible for the entirety of its activities. Have a great team working for me, but overall we work to serve the philanthropic side of the association's activities. We serve the public through our service to the industry.
You know, when you look at the size of our industry, 14.5 million people employed, you look approaching a million restaurants, almost 800 billion in revenues for the industry. I mean, this is obvious. Even this show, one of the biggest in Chicago, possibly in the United States. I mean, that's a pretty major effort you guys have to undertake when you look at education, which is really one of the core foundations.
Absolutely.
Right? What are some of the things that you as the foundation focus on trying to kind of bring that new operator or even the existing operators up to speed in terms of education?
Sure, and so the efforts really focus in 3 places. One part of what we do is really work on attracting people to the industry, right?
Okay.
And we do that through telling the story of the industry. There's an incredible story of opportunity that exists within this industry, the opportunity for people to start from very modest means and be wildly successful, and communicating that is important. We also work with people who want to enter the industry to give them some of the skills that they need in order to enter the industry and be prepared for success. And then we work with people who are within the industry to help them understand the pathways they can move up along within the industry and to make them exposed to the training that they may need in order to be successful in advancing.
You know, there's a lot of segments, within the industry, everything from QSR, fast casual, fine dining, the like, snack, and then you get into food service, colleges and universities, hotels, of course, a huge part of that. How do you sector out education when you have that many different disciplines? You know, when you think about all of these variables who all have kind of different missions in their food service careers.
They do, but there are certain core attributes that exist no matter where. And so some of the work that we've done has really been to identify what are some of those core foundational skills that make you successful in this industry, no matter who you are, no matter where you go. Frankly, make you successful whether you stay in this industry or whether you ultimately move on. And the restaurant industry has an amazing track record of training America's workforce. 1 in 3 people have worked in a restaurant at some point in time. And we know that people who work in the restaurant industry end up really successful no matter where they go. And that's because of some of the core things that you learn in the restaurant industry, from customer service, from teamwork, from hard work, from being quick on your feet, problem solving. Those things are highly transferable in life, regardless of whether it's a different segment in the restaurant industry or actually a different industry completely outside of the restaurant industry. Whether you stay for a year or for a career, we're a great place to be.
Yeah, and you're right. I think it is a springboard into many careers. I mean, even my own. My first job was in a restaurant. I was a manager of a little steakhouse when I was in college, and kind of gave me my first taste. Of course, before that, worked for my grandmother. That was more child labor, I think. But she had a restaurant growing up, and so I've been around it all my life. And you're right, it gives you some principles and definitely a work ethic. I think that is appreciated across
and
a lot of industries.
What's interesting is 9 out of 10 people who work in the industry would recommend the industry to others, and people who no longer work in the industry, overwhelming majority of people who used to work in the industry and have moved on would recommend to someone that they work in the industry for some point of time in their career. I actually know of employers in completely unrelated industries who consciously look for people who used to work in the restaurant industry when they hire, because they know that those people know the things you need to do in order to be successful, that they're going to have great customer service skills, that they're going to know how to work as a member of a team, that they're going to know and appreciate hard work. And when you think about the things that ultimately, wherever you are in your career, make you successful, so many of them can be learned in those initial work experience within a restaurant.
Let's talk about students, because that's kind of the path for the Educational Foundation to really kind of start the career paths for so many young people.
Yes.
Everything from ProStart and all the things that are happening with the NRA. How do you guys approach that from the education side?
Sure. We have, I'm glad you mentioned ProStart. We have an amazingly successful program called ProStart, which is a high school-based culinary and technical education, career and technical education program. 140,000 students around the nation are ProStart students.
Wow.
In all 50 states. Over 1,800 schools throughout the nation are teaching an industry-developed, industry-provided curriculum to kids who are passionate about going into industry. Whether it's because they love Shark Tank and they want to be restaurant managers and restaurant developers someday and run the business side of the restaurants, or because they love the Food Network and they've got the foodie bug and they want to be on the culinary side. The ProStart program embraces both, and it is really bringing about the next generation of managers and leaders within the industry. From there, some of those ProStart kids will go straight into industry and forego the college route. Most of them will advance into college. We have partnerships with everyone from the Culinary Institute of America to small community colleges where our graduates move on. They do very, very well at the college level because they've got great experience in advance. And then we actually have college curriculum called Manage First that we share with many colleges and universities as well. So we try and work with young people from the time they're 9th or 10th grade and are first starting to think about the career, all the way up either through college or direct into industry, to position them for success, to make sure they have the requisite skills and attributes as defined by industry in order to position them very well for success. And some of the success stories from ProStart graduates are crazy. We met recently a young gentleman by the name of Chris Coombs, recent ProStart graduate, who now has 3 wildly successful restaurants that he owns in the Boston area. Has cooked for President Bush and First Lady Laura Bush at the White House,
cool.
and it's just tearing up the track. And he's not alone. ProStart folks are having great success wherever they go, and I think a lot of it has to do because of those early foundational learnings that they get via the ProStart program.
Kind of curious, when you look at the size of our industry and the growth track that we are on, and also what appears to be a bit of a food renaissance occurring right now. A lot of new upstarts, people coming in from other industries. I see so many brand leaders now that have been in finance or real estate or medical, or that are now running restaurants. You look at that pipeline of new operations, new opportunities, and things of that nature. I mean, this seems to be a pretty heavy load on the industry to be able to fill in, the educational side of. So this is a pretty significant undertaking you guys are taking. What are the plans for the future to kind of deal with that growth need?
Yeah, that's a great question. We can't do it alone. We need 1.7 million employees over the next 10 years. We can't.
Right.
The association, as good as we are, we can't train all of those. So a lot of it has to do with the setting of standards, and really one of the things that we're working on at the Educational Foundation is really working to clearly establish the professional standards, the technical standards, the skill standards that you need at every position that may exist within the industry, and then working broadly with all kinds of partners to make sure that they're doing that. Sharing those standards with every 2-year college, with every 4-year college, with every private training company, what have you, so that regardless of the delivery system for where you acquire your skills, whether it's through us or through someone else, if we can standardize and let more people know exactly what it means to be a general manager and the skills and attributes you need to have, or exactly what it means to be a prep cook, as a community of training, we think we can get the job done.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you've explained a huge impact of what the NRAF really has the Educational Foundation, on the industry.
Yes.
Anything, and like you mentioned, the challenge of the industry trying to deal with this growth need, do you feel like there are things that operators, brands, even independents could do to help? Things like if you were trying to coach a restaurant operator to help that educational system go forward, what would you tell them?
Well, in a self-interested way, I'd start by telling them to support the Educational Foundation.
Be part of this, yeah.
Right, and be part of the team and be part of the effort and support what we're doing, because we think that we can do an awful lot. Individual brands do amazing jobs, but they're limited by the constraints of being an individual brand. There's an industry effort that needs to happen as well. But also we work actively with many brands, and just in terms of best practices, and in terms of sharing and learnings of what works and what doesn't, and really. I think we've seen a huge evolution in the mindset of companies and brands. It is so much more open, so much more welcoming, so much more empowering than where it used to be. And one of the things that's so amazing about this industry is the way that the brands work to quickly identify talent and move it through the ranks.
Yeah,
because
that's
we have huge needs, and so what makes this industry so amazing isn't necessarily the point at which you come in the industry, but it's the point you can be 3 or 4 years after coming in the industry.
Okay.
And we need to have systems, whether there's systems that the Educational Foundation is working to develop or individual brands are working, HR and people systems to identify that talent, those shining stars and rising stars, and move them quickly through our ranks. Because again, as you said, huge employment needs over the next 10 years.
Yeah, it's going to be a major issue, I think, that we're going to be facing, especially as we see the growth continue to stay at this pace. But thanks for stopping in today.
Absolutely. Thanks for the time and the conversation.
All right, so stay tuned right here at the National Restaurant Association show for more exciting episodes from On Foodable Weekly and the Foodable Network. Catch you right here.